buffering? I don't know. Y'all let me know. I have a feeling it's going to be a crazy ending to a crazy college football season. That's my feeling. 7 of the top 10 teams are on the road. 7 of them. 7. I know for the most part they're favored, but this weekend has the potential of being a playoff wrecker as far as knocking teams out of those top 4 spots. Congratulations to Cincinnati, by the way. Finally made it. But immediately, now you have to go on the road and play a decent East Carolina. So all that, waving the Cincinnati flag might go right down the drain if you go on the road and lose in Greenville, North Carolina. So, yeah, you got to take care of business against East Carolina. And, speaking as a West Virginia fan, that's a tough place to play. Even when we were a top 10 team, we got beat there, I think, twice. So, yeah, don't take that for granted. I see Raj in the comment section. He won the Super Chat contest, and we've worked out which helmet he wants. As soon as I get back from my Disney vacation, I will be sending out to Raj, so he might get it this coming week or the week after, I'm not sure. Tri-State Wood Sketch has got his prize from Tri-State done. It looks pretty good. It's a wood carving of a football helmet with the word Raj on it. So we're going to mail that to him, and hopefully whenever he gets it, he'll take a picture and send it to me so I can show you guys, because I'm actually excited to give stuff away. I like to, you guys support me. The only reason there is a Golden Blue Dude is because of you guys. I mean, yeah, I talk and make videos and blah, 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 but, I mean, if there's nobody there to watch it, there's no channel. So, Raj is the winner. He should get his full-size helmet, Georgia. I had a feeling I was going to be sending a Georgia helmet because I have a lot of Georgia subscribers. Maybe one of my biggest subscriber base are Georgia fans. Maybe even more than West Virginia. It's pretty close. So I had a feeling that was going to happen. So check this out, guys. All right. So the new top 25 playoff rankings. All right. So I'm going to go through it real quick. 1 Georgia, 2 Ohio State, 3 Alabama, 4 Cincinnati, 5 Michigan, 6 Notre Dame, 7 Oklahoma State, 8 Baylor, 9 Ole Miss, 10 Oklahoma, 11 Oregon, 12 Michigan State. Ooh, the Spartans, man. 13 BYU, 14 Wisconsin, finishing strong. I knew they would. 15 Texas A&M, 16 Iowa, 17 Pitt, 18 Wake Forest. They're not looking good either. 19 Utah, 20 NC State, 21 San Diego State, 22 UTSA, 23 Clemson. I told y'all they were going to get ranked. Clemson's starting to look good. 24 Houston and 25 Arkansas. Yeah, they had to keep Arkansas ranked, right, to make that big-time win for Alabama look good. 7-point win over mighty Arkansas at home. What am I trying to think of here? Oh, yeah. Now I know what I'm trying to think of. That's the same team that went between the hedges and got obliterated by Georgia. What was the score? What was it? 37-0, something like that. But Alabama fan, like, seriously, and I'm really not trying to trash talk Alabama. I'm really not. This is a reality check, okay? So I'm a member of a lot of Facebook groups. Y'all already know that. Alabama, Oklahoma, Florida, Texas, you name it, I'm a member. So, of course, I'm talking to Alabama fans on their Facebook group. And these Alabama fans really, here's their argument. Anybody would give their left foot for a 10-1 record. And I agree with that. But that has nothing to do with beating Georgia. Georgia is an elite team right now. I'm not saying that Alabama is bad. I'm saying Alabama is not a playoff caliber team. They got beat by a 3-loss Texas A&M. They barely survived LSU. I mean, LSU, they complete a Hail Mary and kick an extra point. They win the football game. That's a fact. And then you follow that up by escaping, by a touchdown against Arkansas. And I tried to tell everybody, even in my preseason prediction, guys, Alabama, yes, they reload year after year. That's true. Yes. But when you lose that much on offense, it's not possible to not take a step back. That's not possible. Even as good of a program as Alabama, you lose that much production, you lose that much experience, you're going to take a step back. Now, for Alabama, a step back, it's not that big of a step back. It just means you're not, the big dog for 1 year. It happens. Next year, I think Alabama will be back to elite status because that's what Alabama does. Maybe they'll have a slight down year, 2-loss season. 2019, hello, that happened. Year after, 2020, dominant. This is that step down year. And then next year, you'll be dominant, and you'll be my best friends again next year. That's how it works. I'm down on Alabama, so I'm an Alabama hater. Next year, I'll be high on Alabama, and we'll be best friends again. That's my relationship with Alabama fans. It is what it is. But the thing is, I'm trying to prepare Alabama fans because if you guys really think that you're going to the playoffs and that you're going to give Georgia a good game, you're in for, man, that's going to be a depressing week, guys. I'm trying to warn y'all. Y'all going to be depressed that week if you really think you're going to beat Georgia. That's not, something crazy would have to happen, like half the team, get kicked off the team or gets injured, whatever. Something like that would have to happen. Georgia, it is what it is. 2019, it was LSU. 2020, Alabama. This year, it's Georgia, okay? This year, it's Georgia. You have to accept it because the more time goes by and you're not accepting it, the worse it's going to be, okay? So, all right, 7 of the top 10 ranked teams are on the road. Georgia on the road to Georgia Tech. 35-point favorite. No, there's no upset potential there. In fact, 35 might not be enough. Georgia might win by 40, 50. I don't know. Georgia Tech just got beat 55-0 by Notre Dame. And yeah, Georgia's better than Notre Dame. So that's my take on that. The big game, guys. The big game. Number 2, Ohio State at number 5, Michigan. The past, 5-6 years, let's be honest, we've all yawned at this game at the end of the year. Why? Because Ohio State's way up here and Michigan is way down here. I would say this year Ohio State's pretty good, but Michigan's pretty good too. I don't think they're quite as good as Ohio State, but I think Michigan is pretty good. And it's at the Big House. 2 things though, okay? I think Michigan's defense is better than Ohio State's, but I think Ohio State's offense is better than Michigan's offense, and it's a bigger gap than Michigan's defense being better than Ohio State's defense. Does that make sense? So there's a gap on both sides. Michigan's defense better than Ohio State's. Ohio State's offense better than Michigan's offense. But the gap between how good Ohio State's offense is over Michigan is much bigger than how much better Michigan's defense is. And Ohio State does have a good defense. So it's at the Big House, right? Top 10 matchup. It actually, I'm going to watch it for the first time in 3 or 4 years. I think it's going to be a good game. I think, let's see, Ohio State's favored by 8. I think Michigan covers that. I think they scare Ohio State, but Ohio State's clicking on all cylinders. I think the Buckeyes win this game. But I could be wrong. The mental thing might be getting to Jim Harbaugh. He might coach the team into a big loss. I don't know. But talent versus talent, Michigan has a chance to upset Ohio State. I don't think they're going to do it. I think the Buckeyes take care of business. They get to the Big Ten Championship, and they probably will beat Wisconsin. So Ohio State's in. So there you go. Georgia, Ohio State, that's 2 teams, right? The 2 losses that I had Alabama losing this year. On the road to Texas A&M, that's already happened. And on the road to Auburn. And I'm actually going to stick with that. I know Auburn hasn't been impressive, and they did lose on the road to South Carolina. But that was a preseason prediction. I gotta stick to my prediction. It is in Jordan-Hare. Alabama is not the beast that they usually are. I think Auburn pulls the upset. It's gonna be a close one. Maybe a last second, I don't know, kick six, something like that, or a Hail Mary, something like that. But if not, if Auburn does lose to Alabama, Alabama's going to get beat by Georgia. Point is, Alabama's not making the playoffs. So they're out. 2 spots still open, okay? Georgia in, Ohio State in, right? Alabama not in. Number 4, Cincinnati. Okay. 11-0, undefeated. They have a really good win on the road to a top 10 Notre Dame. And their next game is on the road to East Carolina. I have this feeling about that game. And y'all know me. I've been an advocate for Cincinnati, so I'm not hoping that they lose, but I have this feeling that this could be an upset, a big upset. And of course, it would cost Cincinnati a spot in the playoffs. Even if they do escape that, they also have to play Houston in the AAC Championship. I think the threat in Greenville, North Carolina, aka the East Carolina Pirates, is higher than Houston in the championship game. I think Houston has a very bad defense, and that's a mismatch for Houston. I'm not concerned about that for Cincinnati. But that road trip to East Carolina, that one's tougher than people realize. Cincinnati's 7-4, guys. They're not a terrible team. And we have seen Cincinnati struggle on the road since the road win against Notre Dame. You know what? I hate doing this, guys. I really do, but I think Cincinnati goes down. I really do. I'm like you guys. I want Cincinnati in the Final Four. I really do. I think the stress. I think the expectations. I think it being a road game. I think East Carolina being a quality team. I think this is that game where Cincinnati trips up, and the hopes of a group of 5 team making the playoffs goes down the drain for this year. So reluctantly, I am predicting Cincinnati losing to East Carolina. Okay, so we still have Georgia and Ohio State in. Number 5, Michigan, of course, I have them losing to Ohio State, so they're out. Number 6, Notre Dame.
Yes.
Their last game, Stanford, 3-9. They're favored by, 19.5. Definitely laying that 19.5. I think Notre Dame wins that game easily. I told y'all Oregon shouldn't have lost to Stanford. They're a bad, bad team. Notre Dame doesn't have a conference championship, true, but they have, according to how I see it going, you have Michigan losing ahead of them. They have Cincinnati losing ahead of them. They have Alabama losing ahead of them. So if that goes the way I think it will, I'm going to give that 3rd spot to Notre Dame. I don't want to. I don't like it. But they have the brand. And that would be the scenario that the Irish would need to get to the playoffs. So 1 Georgia, 2 Ohio State, 3 Notre Dame. And then there's that 4th spot. Well, you have number 7 Oklahoma State taking on number 10 Oklahoma. I think the Cowboys win that. But the Big 12 championship, I think they would have to play Baylor again if they beat Oklahoma. If Oklahoma State beats Oklahoma, Baylor has the tiebreaker over Oklahoma, so it would be Oklahoma State and Baylor. Oklahoma State did beat Baylor once, but it was in Stillwater, and it's really, really, really tough for a team to beat a really good team twice. So, yeah, I think Oklahoma State beats Oklahoma. But I think Baylor beats Oklahoma State. So, 4 spot, still up for grabs. Oregon, they'll beat Oregon State, but I think they lose to Utah again. Utah owned them. Even if Oregon makes it closer, Utah will beat them again. Who's going to make that 4th spot? It's not going to be Michigan State either, even though I have them beating Penn State. Not going to be BYU. Not going to be Wisconsin. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's how Alabama gets in. So Alabama goes on the road to Auburn, pulls out a squeaker, much closer. I know. I predicted Auburn to beat Alabama, but Alabama is the better team. Let's say a miracle happens. Alabama pulls out the squeaker. They go to the SEC Championship, even if they get blown out by Georgia. Absolutely blown out. Doesn't matter. Everybody's gotten blown out by Georgia. So the 4 spots could be 1 Georgia, 2 Ohio State, 3 Notre Dame, 4 Alabama. Same old, same old. And that's what I'm afraid is going to happen. I don't want it to happen. The chances of it happening aren't that great, but I have this feeling those are going to be the 4 teams in just because of the chaos that could happen. That's very possible. So even though the percentages are low as far as each and every one of those things happening, the percentage, if you break it up piece by piece, is actually really high. It's putting it all together. So yeah, I think it'll be Georgia, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Alabama. So you'd have. Now I don't think they'll seed it that way because if you have 1 Georgia and 4 Alabama, they're going to play each other in the semifinal. And I don't think the playoff committee is going to want that. So here's what they're going to do. They're going to put 1 Georgia, 2 Ohio State, 3 Alabama, and 4 Notre Dame. So your playoff games are going to be Georgia versus Notre Dame in one semifinal. Then the other game is going to be Ohio State and Alabama. Georgia will beat Notre Dame. Ohio State will beat Alabama. Then we will get our Georgia versus Ohio State national championship. So it'll end the way it's supposed to end. But the way we get there is going to be chaos. It's going to be a lot of head scratching. It's going to be, it's because of the brand and this and that. And I get that, but the way the season has gone, I don't trust teams other than Georgia and Ohio State to do what they're supposed to do to get into the playoffs. I don't trust Cincinnati. I like Cincinnati. I want Cincinnati to make it. I really hope that I'm wrong. I really do hope that I'm wrong about Cincinnati. Because y'all know me. I've been pulling for Cincinnati since day one. I want Cincinnati to make the playoffs. I didn't realize how... I didn't see this collision with East Carolina coming because, honestly, East Carolina looked like a trash team near the beginning of the season. That's what's really baffled me. I didn't see this coming. Like, this wasn't a build-up. Like, okay, look out for that last game on the road to East Carolina. That could be a trip-up game. And I think that could be... See, this is why I think Cincinnati could trip up, because that could be the same mentality as the Bearcats. This wasn't the game they circled. The game they circled was Notre Dame. And, they're probably like me. They didn't know that Cincinnati would be, or East Carolina would be a 7-4 and a legitimate threat to beat Cincinnati. But I really think they are. I really think Cincinnati is a legitimate threat to beat Cincinnati. And it's not because they're a great team. It's because I have been to Greenville, North Carolina. That is a very tough place to play. East Carolina actually has a bigger stadium than Cincinnati. They create more noise than Cincinnati. That is an intimidating environment, and it's out in the middle of nowhere. You feel like you're cut off from the world. It's a great home field advantage for East Carolina, and that's why... I hate predicting this, but I think Cincinnati will lose to East Carolina, but I still think they'll beat Houston because Houston is full of nonsense wins. Their best wins is SMU, who Cincinnati just destroyed, and they got beat by Texas Tech at the beginning of the season. Besides that, all the teams that Houston has beat well below 500 record when you put it all together. The last time I looked, it was like 34-50, something like that, and I think that was a week ago, so it might be worse than that. But, excuse me, Thanksgiving dinner. Sometimes I'm going to have to burp, so y'all know that. Yeah, even 3 weeks ago, that game didn't scream upset. And the thing is, this is why I keep bringing up what's happened throughout the season, because, you know, Alabama lost on the road to Texas A&M. Now, right now, it's like, oh, Texas A&M, halfway decent team. They're 8-3, number 15 in the nation. But back then, they were struggling. They barely beat Colorado 10-3. They were not in the top 25. So whenever Texas A&M beat Alabama, everybody was like, whoa, big upset. When Stanford beat Oregon, whoa, didn't see that coming. Even when Oregon beat Ohio State, whoa, I didn't see that coming. I think this is one of those games where we're like, whoa, wow, I did not see that coming. And a lot of people, I guarantee it, this is what some people are going to say. Well, that solves the problem of Cincinnati. We knew it all along. They weren't going to make the playoffs. Cincinnati is not invincible like Georgia this year. Nobody is invincible like Georgia this year. The problem with Cincinnati, if this goes down, is it happened at the wrong time. I mean, look at Ohio State. They lost, what, in the second or third week? If you're going to lose, that's when you need to lose. Same with Notre Dame. Even though it was a little bit later on, they lost to a good Cincinnati at home. So it's going to be... It's really going to be difficult to explain, because a lot of people are going to be like, right, I told you so. Group of 5 team, you know, they shouldn't make it, and we knew they were going to slip up. Everybody slips up. But the icing on the cake is they are a group of 5 team. They do have a good win against Notre Dame on the road, and there was no doubt that they were not going to win that game. They were going to win that game. They were the better team that day. So it's just one of those things where the better team might not win. And sometimes that happens. The better team doesn't always win. It's just all the right, you know, maybe stress, maybe expectations. Maybe Ritter has a down day. Maybe it's just, you know, one of the best environments of the year. You know that stadium is going to be sold out. Now, I think they hold like 50,000. They're going to try to cram 60,000 in there. That's how much my team, my stadium, West Virginia, that's how much our stadium holds. You can make a lot of noise with 60,000. I know SEC fans in there, oh, there's nothing going to Blue Dude. Georgia, we got 90,000. Alabama, we got 100,000. Yeah, I get that. It's not an SEC stadium. I get that. My point is, for a group of 5 team, you know, 50, 60,000, that's going to be freaking loud. And it will play a factor. And I don't think Cincinnati is going to make it through it. And it really pains me to say that, because I wanted to see a Cincinnati-Georgia matchup, whether it was a first-round matchup or a national championship. Wait a minute. I'm talking like this has already happened. It hasn't happened, all right? I just have this feeling. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope I'm really freaking wrong about this, and Cincinnati goes into Greenville, North Carolina, and erases all my doubts. It's one of those things. It's almost like the same feeling that I had as a West Virginia fan back when we were really good. That road trip to South Florida, I think it was 2007. I had a feeling we were going to lose. We did. A road trip to East Carolina, it was either 05 or 06. I had a feeling we were going to lose. We did. And we were the better team and y'all already know the other game, the backyard brawl in 2007. I had this feeling, and we did. Because the better team doesn't always win just because of the pressure, expectations, whatever. Everything comes together, and the players they fold. They're not used to those situations. Even last year when Cincinnati played Georgia in the Peach Bowl, man, they went toe-to-toe with Georgia. I mean, they had that game won for 3 quarters. And then last, I don't know, 4 minutes, Georgia was like, all right, time to win this. Cincinnati fought. They were out of gas at the end of the game, and Georgia won. Could be a game like that. I don't know. I just have this feeling that Cincinnati's going down, and if all this other chaos happens, that's how Alabama gets into the playoffs. And if that happens, Alabama's going to have 2 losses. The thing is, will all this other stuff happen for them to get in? So even if Alabama does get into the playoffs, I know people will say, I told y'all they were going to get in and they were a good team. Look, it would be a matter of circumstance. It wouldn't be a matter of they deserve to be in. It would be a matter of circumstance. So I know I'm going to hear that if Alabama makes it because of those circumstances. But I don't think they're a playoff caliber team, and they're going to get blown out by whoever they play in the first round. Hold on. Yeah. There's no rules to a live show. You can walk by the camera.
I don't want anybody to see me.
Then run by.
Love you, need it.
Quick break, guys. Hold on. Yeah, they were asking me if they can walk by the camera or if they needed to crawl. Or I'm like, there's no rules to live shows. If you want to walk by, go ahead. It's not like I got this. I'm not quarantined. I don't have this. This isn't VIP live show. You can walk by. Anybody can walk by. If you happen to be in the same area and I'm doing a live show outside, like whenever I did my it wasn't a live show, but whenever I did my Clemson versus Georgia prediction, and I was outside and people came by. It wasn't like, oh, stop, go around. I don't want you in my. No, I don't. That's what makes a good YouTube channel is the involvement of others. So yeah, of course you're allowed to walk by the camera. Anyways, man, I got way off track because of that. So in that scenario, we could have a 2-loss Big 12 champion. We're definitely going to have a 2-loss Pac-12 champion. Definitely going to have a 2-loss ACC champion. And if the winner of Ohio State-Michigan loses to Wisconsin, we could end up with a 2-loss Big 10 champion. So a lot of things that haven't happened in the past that we're not used to could happen still. Because other things have happened that we're not used to have happened. So I'm not discounting anything. What do y'all feel like is going to happen? Let me get y'all's opinion on this one. I know Raj is in the comment section. And I have a feeling his opinion is, Georgia, and that's all that matters. Which he's probably right. All this other stuff probably doesn't even matter. Wisconsin sports fan says, I see Ohio State beating Wisconsin 34-21. That's a good score prediction. I like that. FK says, GBD got the flashy silver chain. I actually always have that on. Sometimes it's in, sometimes it's out. This is actually a present that my wife got me. It's like 5 years old. I always wear it no matter what, even in the shower. I literally have to lift it up and clean under it. So, yeah. Tuckus Pitt says, great year to be a Pitt fan. Pitt is in the ACC championship and West Virginia sucks. Yep, you're probably right about that. Well, you actually are right about that. We suck and you are in the ACC championship. Sometimes the stars align and crazy things happen, so enjoy this 1 year of being a Pitt fan, and it means something. Michael Hogg says, hey, Wisconsin, something tells me that Michigan is going to shock the world on Saturday. That's also a possibility. I mean, this is in the big house. B Bean says, Oklahoma 33, Oklahoma State 27. I don't see that happening, but, I mean, Oklahoma has survived teams that are better than them, but on the road against a really good Oklahoma, I'm telling you, man, that's a good team. That defense is ridiculous. They don't have a great offense, but they have an amazing defense, and it's in Stillwater. If this was in Norman, I'd probably give the Sooners at least a 50-50 shot. Home field advantage matters. I would say 50-50. Oklahoma, the better team. I mean, Oklahoma State went into Texas, and one play changed that game. They should have lost that game, but they did go into Texas and beat them. Continued a bad losing streak for Texas, which, by the way, I do think Texas loses their last game and finishes the season, on a 7-game losing streak? Historically bad year for Texas. Randall Sign says, go to Blue Dude, what state is Nick Saban from? The great state of West Virginia, of course. Talkie Spit says, I don't see OSU losing to Michigan. 38-28, Ohio State. I agree with that. Although the score might be closer. I'm going to say like 35-31, something like that. Since he is doing it this year, they ain't losing. I hope you're right, Savage Dog. I want them into the playoffs. Pastor Aaron Timberlake says fried turkey or normal turkey. Normal turkey this year because of we didn't have the capabilities of doing anything other than a normal turkey. But it was good. It was really good. But I've heard that fried turkey is really good. I've never tasted it though, but it seems to me like it would be similar to fried chicken maybe. Gamecock Chuck says, props to you doing videos while on vacation. Oklahoma State hasn't lost at home. Good point, and they're not going to lose at home. And Nate says, I do have a feeling that Michigan is going to shock the world. Yes, of course, a Michigan fan should say that. Michael also says, GPT, any truth to the rumor that you are going to be the new OC for West Virginia next year? I cannot confirm or deny that right now. So I'm going to leave that as is. Hog also says, Wisconsin, I don't see Notre Dame being in the CFP. I hope not. I really hope I'm wrong and Notre Dame doesn't get in. But really, honestly, this is me being 100% honest. When you look at it, it wouldn't take much for Notre Dame to get in. It really wouldn't. They're number 6 right now, guys, in the playoff committee. Number 6. If Cincinnati lost, that would open up a spot. And then, I mean, Alabama's going to get knocked out. They are. Okay, they are. And Ohio State and Michigan play each other. There's not much. I mean, even if Cincinnati does win, Alabama's going to be out. Maybe they would need the winner of Michigan, Ohio State to lose in the Big Ten. So, honestly, and Notre Dame has the name brand where they would get a bye or a pass for, losing to Cincinnati. The playoff committee is all about money. We all know that. Even though Notre Dame has gotten blown out every stinking time they've made the playoffs, doesn't matter to the playoff committee. Doesn't matter. They're all about the money, and Notre Dame is a big brand. They're going to bring in a lot of eyeballs. Notre Dame is an international fan base, not just a national fan base. International fan base. I don't want Notre Dame to make it, but them being at number 6 right now at this point in the season, and Michigan playing Ohio State, right? So one of them will drop behind Notre Dame, either Ohio State or Michigan. Alabama's going to drop below Notre Dame because they're going to get blown out by Georgia. I'm telling you, it's not far-fetched for Notre Dame to make the playoffs. As long as they beat Stanford. I mean, that's 2 spots right there. I honestly don't know why people aren't talking about Notre Dame in the playoffs more because, I mean, Michigan playing Ohio State, that's one spot. They will move up one spot because those two teams are playing each other. So that's Notre Dame at 5, right? Well, Alabama's going to lose to Georgia. That'll put Notre Dame above Alabama. So even if Alabama slides in at 4, Notre Dame's still in. I'm telling you, I don't know why more people aren't predicting Notre Dame in the playoffs right now. Even if Cincinnati does win, it still holds true that Michigan and Ohio State are playing each other, and one of them will get knocked below Notre Dame, and that Alabama's going to pick up another loss. So it looked like the chances of Notre Dame making the playoffs this year, extremely high as long as they don't lose to Stanford. Like when you're laying your head down at night tonight, about to dream, think about it seriously. As long as they beat Stanford, Notre Dame might be a lock in the playoffs. I'm being serious. They might. I mean, their only loss will be to Cincinnati. Yes, it's at home, but Cincinnati is a top 5 team. Spaces will open up in front of them. All they have to do is beat Stanford, guys. I'm telling you. All they have to do is beat Stanford. Now, if Cincinnati wins out and Alabama wins out, that's how Notre Dame gets left out. Alabama might be the key. Alabama and Cincinnati, I take that back. Alabama and Cincinnati are the key to Notre Dame getting in. Especially if Cincinnati loses. If Cincinnati loses, then I think Notre Dame's a lock. A lock. Okay? Now, if Cincinnati wins, they still might be a lock because even if they somehow slide Alabama in, that's still 2 spots ahead of Notre Dame. I didn't even realize. I need to do a video on that because I didn't even realize to this moment how big of a chance Notre Dame has of getting to the playoffs. Like that's crazy, guys. I didn't put 2 and 2 together. Notre Dame's going to make the playoffs if they don't lose to Stanford. Like that will happen. I don't see any scenario where they could actually leave Notre Dame out as long as they beat Stanford. Seriously. Y'all, I'm open to anything. If y'all can think of a scenario that Notre Dame gets left out if they beat Stanford, take that into account. They beat Stanford, okay? What scenario would there be that they don't make the playoffs? Like if they beat Stanford, what scenario is there where they wouldn't make it? Sports World says if Notre Dame goes to the college football playoff, then it will play Ole Miss. I like that actually. Ole Miss in the Peach Bowl. Wait, you have Ole Miss in? A lot of crazy things would have to happen for that. I don't know if that was a sarcastic comment, but yeah, that's not happening. Wisconsin says, agreed, GBD. It's this simple. If 2 of the 3, Alabama, Cincinnati, Michigan, lose 1 or more, they're in. Exactly. And we know that Michigan and Ohio State are playing each other, so it doesn't have to be just Michigan. Michigan, Ohio State are in the same category. They're going to play each other. So one of those teams will be eliminated, and both of those teams are ahead of Michigan. So one of those teams above Michigan will be eliminated because they have to play each other. That's one of the biggest things. And then Alabama losing to Georgia, and I think everybody thinks that's going to happen, whether it's a blowout or not. Notre Dame's in. Simple as that. It really doesn't matter what happens to Cincinnati. It would help Notre Dame if Cincinnati lost, but Notre Dame still gets in if they beat Stanford. I mean, can't believe I'm saying that because I didn't even realize that till just now when I looked at the rankings and who's playing who. That's insane. But yeah, if Notre Dame doesn't slip up, Notre Dame's in. Oklahoma State. I don't know if the playoff committee. I like the premise with Oklahoma State winning out and jumping Notre Dame. I don't know That is the one scenario. Yes, I agree with that. That is the one scenario that can keep Notre Dame out. If Cincinnati wins out and Oklahoma State wins out. Cincinnati, if they win out, they're in, period. I'm not 100% convinced that the playoff committee would put in Oklahoma State above Notre Dame if they win out. Would they deserve? Yes, 100%. I would agree with that. I don't want Notre Dame in either. I mean, they've gotten destroyed every time they've made the playoffs. But we all know how the playoff committee works. I mean, they'll give Alabama as many passes as possible. I mean, Alabama's number 3 now. They're still in the top 4, even though they've looked horrific at times. And they lost to a 3-loss Texas A&M. So they'll give Alabama as many passes as possible, and they will give Notre Dame as many passes as possible. How do they feel about Oklahoma State? I mean, they're number 7 right now. That's a good number. But Notre Dame is still ranked ahead of them. They'll have one more game than Notre Dame. That scenario makes sense. It makes sense. I just don't know if that's how the playoff committee would think. I mean, common sense says yes, that of course Oklahoma State would get in over Notre Dame. So in that situation, you'd have 1 Georgia, 2 Ohio State, 3 Cincinnati, and 4 Oklahoma State. That's not a bad playoff right there. And honestly, the Georgia-Oklahoma State matchup, I think that would be a really good game because Oklahoma State has an elite defense as well. So that Oklahoma State, besides Ohio State, and Ohio State's not going to play Georgia in the first round. They'll keep them at 2. Oklahoma State will give Georgia the best first-round matchup possible, not including Ohio State. It would be Oklahoma State that gives Georgia the best, the most problems in a first-round matchup. Now, overall, it'll be Ohio State, but I think eventually they're going to play in the national championship. So B-Bean says playoff Final 4, Georgia, Ohio State, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State. I like it. I just hope that Cincinnati doesn't lose. Otherwise, that's messed up. If Cincinnati loses, then it could be... Actually, you know what? If Cincinnati loses, then it could be 1 Georgia, 2 Ohio State, 3 Oklahoma State, and 4 Notre Dame. That's another possibility. If Cincinnati loses, 1 Georgia against the 4 Notre Dame, 2 Ohio State against the 3 Oklahoma State. I think that 2-3 matchup right there would be ridiculous. Ohio State's offense against Oklahoma State's defense, that would be a crazy matchup. I'm for that too. So, you know, what I might do is I might make up, not my actual prediction for the Final 4, but what I might do is come up with my favorite scenarios, like my favorite top 4 that's doable. Not like, you know, crazy, off the wall, out of the blue, out of left field type of picks. But, you know, realistically, 4 teams that can make it and my favorite scenarios that would work out. And that might be number 1. 1 Georgia, 2 Ohio State, 3 Oklahoma State. Maybe not 4 Notre Dame, but that might be how it works out. Let's see. Is there any other? Maybe 4 Alabama. If Notre Dame lost to Stanford, and that would be doable. So, yeah. This would be my favorite. 1 Georgia, 2 Ohio State, 3 Oklahoma State, and 4 Alabama. That way Georgia could beat the brakes off of Alabama 2 times in a row. I don't think they would seed them that way. So, they might put them at 3. But no, I want that matchup, Ohio State and Oklahoma State. So, no. Not going to put Alabama in on that one. It'll be Notre Dame at the 4 spot. So, that's my favorite scenario. 1 Georgia, 2 Ohio State, 3 Oklahoma State, and 4 Notre Dame. Even though I hate Notre Dame, in that scenario, that would be my favorite 4. Anyways, guys, I kind of exhausted myself trying to think of all these scenarios and who's going to beat who and what seedings they're going to have and what are the best matchups and the craziness that's going on around me, the loudness, people asking if they should walk behind me. throwing things, trying to throw me off course, trying to distract me, people yelling, throwing things, the echo in here, the headache that I'm getting right now, the people saying that they hate Notre Dame, and the We Are Marshall chants that's not even relevant to the conversation, because I had to share this house with Marshall fans, which is probably the worst part about this trip as far as having to deal with Marshall fans. But, you know, we're 12-0 against Marshall, so I'm okay with that. They can yell We Are Marshall all the time, and I'll yell We Are 12-0 all the time. So, you know, it's all good. I think I kept my composure pretty well for all the chaos that was going on around me, though. Proud of myself. I had a feeling it was going to happen, too. Anyways, Baylor Bear 03 says, is West Virginia going to the ACC? Yes, they are. And, in fact, I had somebody comment on my video earlier. I'm not sure how reliable they are, but they did say they have a family member that's with the West Virginia, what was it, athletic department, and they said they were hearing the same thing. So more people are saying it. I'm going by specific sources. I'm not going by, you know, what they're saying, and yes, go to Blue Dude. They're saying the same thing. I have my specific sources, but it is nice to hear that other people are saying, yeah, we're hearing the same thing, if that makes any sense. I have my sources, really good sources, but, you know, it's always nice to hear that other people's sources who are pretty good are saying the same thing as well. So West Virginia to the ACC, yes, and from what I'm hearing, it's probably going to, the announcement maybe in the January, February timeline, something like that. I don't know. I have a bet with this one guy from 365 Sports. Can't think of his name. He didn't see me in his email, so he's probably going to welch on me. But I had a bet with him, $400 by August of 2022. If West Virginia hasn't announced that they're going to the ACC, then I owe him $400. If they have by August 2022, then I owe him $300. That's how confident I am in my sources. I'm laying $400 down on a bet that it will be announced by August 2022. And so if they announce by February or January, February, something like that, I win $300. I'm confident that I'm gonna be $300 richer. And I'm talking one more thing before I get off here. I'm talking to my sponsor, who's you know, of course, Tri-State Wood Sketch. He's great at building shelves, anything wood carving, something like that. We're talking about our background. What do you call it? Maybe renovation might be the right word. So here, probably in the next 6 months, maybe 8 months, something like that, we're going to have some nice aesthetic changes to the Golden Blue Dude background. So I hope you guys will enjoy that. It'll add some depth and some dimension to the camera shot. I'm excited about it. This guy is really good at what he does, and we have a really good a vision of what we want the background to look like. So I think it's going to be amazing. I can't wait for that. Anyways, I want to get off here, guys. They're actually on purpose trying to distract me. So if I don't get off here, it's going to continue on forever. I'll still have another regular video tomorrow, so there you go. Anything else? I think that's it. Y'all have a good night. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope y'all enjoyed the live show. And as you can see, it's crazy here at Disney. Great time, but crazy. Hold on. Nine kids.
Yeah, Chris, you're right.
Really, really fun. 9 kids. The good thing is, we are getting to bed at a decent time, so at least we're getting our rest. Happy Thanksgiving, and my next live show probably won't be till Wednesday, so it might be a while, because I'll be driving on Saturday.
My dad told me to do